guys, my name is Michael and welcome to a new GTK tutorial. It is time now to move on and we are going to talk today about G-types. We already saw in some other videos that we kindly need them, and we saw some of them, how they are working or what their meaning are, but it is time to explore more about this interesting type, which is called G-type. About G-type, what can I tell you? It is that as you already saw, we have a lot of different kinds of types, like object type, like widget type, like values types or variables type, if you can call it like them, and so on. But at the end, all just types. Anyway, as you can see here, the type information says the glib runtime type identification and management system, and we have a lot of defines, functions, and so on. And of course, we have a lot of types and values, a lot of structures, and as you can see, we have a lot of types to string, pointer, flags, enumeration, long G-types as long and as well. And of course, what do we have? We have a description about explaining us more in detail what exactly those G-types are. So basically the G-type app is the foundation of the object system. And that being said, the objects, basically the G object, it is the fundamental type from all types. And as you can see, it provides the facility for registering and managing all fundamental types, data types, user-defined object, and interface types. Now, what I'm trying to explain, there are some things which you need to understand, like for example, the G object itself, it is the fundamental type, providing common attributes and methods for all object types. About G object, we are not going to talk about now, but it's just that you know that this one is a fundamental type. And we have also some abstract base classes, which is very important for you to know them. You can check them if you search after abstract base classes on the gnomedeveloper.org and or developer.gnome.org. And as you can see, we have a widget, we have the container, the bin, menu shell, range, context, and dialog, and so on. Okay, so that being said, let us check what's the story with this type, G-type. As you can see, we have a lot of defines, and we have, as you can see, a lot of values. But I was thinking about how should I introduce you at the beginning, and I'm still not sure which is the right way to start with this G-type, because it is so there are so many ways to work with this, and there are so many objects, widgets, interfaces, and so on. They are working with this type that this is not a very easy way to introduce this one. But one thing is for sure, at some point when you are done, or better when we are done with this playlist, or I'm not sure when will be over, because I'm going to introduce you some videos, and at some point I'm going to stop. But at the point when we are going to proceed with our widgets and informations, I'm going to update this playlist. So what I'm trying to say, it is the way how I found out the best thing to start with the G-type itself. It is to introduce you with a function. So this function, this is called G-type ensure. This is the first thing which we are going to talk today. So what exactly means? So ensures that indicates type has been registered with the type system, and its class init method has been run. This is very important for you to understand. This is the way how you 100% you are 100% sure that you are working with the right type. I'm going to repeat myself. Sorry about that. Ensures that the indicated type has been registered with the type system at the moment when you are working or you're creating your application, and its class init method has been run. Okay, so in theory, simply calling the types name and then get type method or using corresponding macro is supposed to take care of this. We'll see in a second what they are trying to say here, because this is even for me new. I got it when I was dealing with a problem. The GTK guys, they point me to this one, which is very good. However, the GType methods are often marked with G new C constant, so we are not going to talk. And what exactly does means this one? I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to call this function, which will be the first function which we are going to work with. And I'm going to call it right here. And here I'm going to pass something because we are working with a button, GTK type button. GTK type button. Basically, the button has a type, and this type it is called GTK type button. Now, these types are those types which they are talking about. As if we go back now to where they are registered, or best say the types and values, you see all these types right here. They are exist and should work. But to be 100% sure that everything is fine, and to be sure that you don't mess with some wrong types and or some like this, then before you work with that, you just need to call this function. It doesn't return nothing. It just indicates the type has been registered. That's very important. So let me see what happens if I do now a GTK type. Okay, maybe if I do this, we get, of course, a warning because it doesn't find it. Yes, there is now something like this. How about 8? Whoa. How about 8? Just a number. GType and show 8. Let's see what the program says. You see, it says nothing because it's dealing with no type at all. So basically, let's go back. Ensure that the indicated type has been registered with a type system and its class init method has been run. So don't expect that it's returning something. It's just ensuring. We are going to talk about this more when we are going to talk about this part here, and when I'm going to talk, or best say when we are going to come to this part, I'm going to remind you about this thing. So until then, I'm going to let it at the GTK button, whatever. What we will do now, the first thing first, we are going to check the main information, and here we have a lot of macros. And these macros, which we have them like a lot of them, we can use them in different situations. For example, GType fundamental, it is a type which is a transfer for the type of a type. So fundamental types are types that serve as ultimate base for derivative types. Those they are the roots of distinct inheritance hierarchy. Inheritance, sorry, I cannot spell some words, it's just me. Anyway, the GType fundamental, okay, this is the thing which we need to check. It is the with this basically with this call you can check if the type it is indeed fundamental. If it's not, then something wrong will happen. So let us check first to see how we can make it work. I'm going to use an if statement, and here I'm going to pass something. So because we have no object type now, I'm not going to retrieve someone. I'm just going to say GType object, because this is the first thing which we are going to check. Now, if this GType object is a fundamental, it should return true. If not, it should return false. Now let me compile it and run and see what happens. As you can see, it returns true, and of course it is returning true because the GType object, it is a fundamental type, and that is very important for you to understand. Now of course you can make another check, and this is the next thing which we are going to do. The next thing which we are going to do now, because there are so many ways of how we can basically connect this information, I'm going to change with another call of another from instance right here. I'm going to call this macro, and this macro basically gives me the type of the object which we are using at the moment. So basically, in this case, the type which we are going to retrieve, let's say GType, I'm going to say I'm going to leave it the name for a second. So basically we need the button, so I'm passing the button because I need to get its type. We already know that the GType button, it is its type, but we are going to check it as well. So, and now I'm going to say type from instance, just to be sure. Now because we have it, we can make a check to be sure that it is true. So if type from instance it is equal to G, there are a lot of other functions which you can compare, but it's not the point now. The point now is that you understand what I'm trying to tell you here. Type, okay, that was too fast. Type button. So if it's true, if those two are basically equal, it should return true. They are equal. Okay, let's see what prints right now. You see, true, they are equal. So because they are equal now, basically because we retrieved, that's very important for you, basically because we retrieve this type, which we are 100% sure that it is the right one, it is basically safe for us to work with it. And because you work now with this, we have this type, we can we can give it some more meaning. And for this, now because we got the type, now we can call another macro on it, and the next macro which I'm going to introduce you, it is GType fundamental. Let me make some changes to the program right now. I'm going to pass now the type of the instance instead of the object, because we will see what exactly prints. You see, it says it is true. So now if it's true, we can call the next macro, which is called is fundamental right here, and says check if type is a fundamental type. So basically, what do you think it happens now if now we call in the same if statement right here, and we are going to pass the type from instance. It brings true or false? It is printing false, and of course it is printing false because this type, it is a type which was given from our button and not a type which is fundamental. This means this type has to be a fundamental type. That's the reason why you got false. If we do now a GType, because we have no object or no fundamental type right now to extract to, I'm going to pass only this one. So now watch, because GType is we have a GType, and of course we have a type which it is from fundamental type. It should print true at this point, which is right. And now the GType fundamental, as you already noticed, the fundamental type, which is the ancestor of the type, you see. So basically what we did here, we said check if this type, it is derived from, where I said is its first ancestor, first type from where it derives this one. Check it if it's fundamental. If it is, then print true. If it's not, then print false. So basically, because GTK button, if we go now to its reference manual, GTK button, watch, the GTK button has its object hierarchy, and as you can see, if we go all the way up, it goes until G object, which is the fundamental. So basically it's true. We do find out that the type of our button, it is derived from a type which is a fundamental one. So basically this is it goes all the way, this function goes all the way up and checks until the last one to see if it's a fundamental, and if it is, then returns true. The same thing happens with GType is fundamental, because now we have it, which means now the GType object it is. But now watch, I'm going to change the program. Watch, I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to remove everything here. I'm going to let the G is fundamental, and instead of the GType object, because I'm going to delete it now, I'm going to put these things right here. So now we are checking if GType is fundamental by passing the GType fundamental macro, which extracts the fundamental type from our type from instance. It's a little bit crazy, but you will see how it's working now, and now you will understand. Now it returns true because now we got a meaning for our GType is fundamental. You see, by calling those two macros and passing one macro inside the other one based on the object type, in this case our GTK button. So this is the way how it's working. I'm going to stop now with this video because it's enough, and we are going to proceed with the next videos, which give us more information. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.